All right, welcome to this unboxing of the new Deanna Tubb-Sedillo background papers made by Blue Knight. She has on here, do not use until April. I think it said March and then April, but then she said, oh, they're out. They've been released, so we can show them at any time. I have no idea what these papers are going to look like, so this will be a surprise to me here. Well, not a surprise, but something, it'll be a new, whatever, reveal, I guess, just like anyone else picking up these papers. All right, so what these papers are 4¼ by 5½, and they are a matte finish, and which accept a lot of different types of inks. Okay. And, oh, I was wrong. They're 6 by 6. They were always 4¼ by 5½. So I guess they're playing around with different formats now, which is cool. I hardly ever use squares, but I always feel that I should kind of expand on my applications. All right, let's take a look here. So there's one of each of these designs in this pack that she sent to me, just as a kind of a test pack. But normally there's 5 cards of each of the 5 designs. Okay, so there's these 5 designs right here. And the reason why there's 6 here is this one design right here is on the back of all of them. So if you stamp something on whatever side you're working on, if you, I don't know, make a mistake or something like that, you drop a stamp or something, you can still utilize the back side of it. So you could be using this side, oops, you could flip it around and use this side. Okay, so anyways, when I look at these packs of designs from Deanna every time, sometimes certain things come to mind in terms of usage immediately. But a lot of them, I don't know. There might be some kind of initial inclination, but then I kind of let them sit around and I look at them for a while. Sometimes it's weeks, or, I don't sit and think long and hard about it, but other types of compositions come to mind. Maybe in my subconscious or something like that, because some of them it's like, I really want to find the ideal usage for them because I have one to use, which is it's a good exercise. Okay, so when I look at something like this, it's naturally a sunset or a sunrise, okay? Now I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at it, I look at it, I would use it either this way or this way. I doubt if I would use it where these striations are vertical like that, but I guess you could. But on something like this, it looks like these clouds are underlit. And sometimes, and then when I look at it like this, it feels like I'm over the clouds like an airplane or something like that. So when I'm looking at something like this, I see islands or something down below. And when I do something like this, I see trees or something like that in the foreground. Although, if I put something right here, this could be the reflected light on like a water's surface or something of that nature. Now we have a bit of cool tones in here in these cooler violets right in here. And then we have the warmer tones throughout as the kind of your base layer. And that's kind of cool to play around that she's utilized kind of a wide temperature spectrum in addition to values in here. So that might play into how I utilize it sometimes. I might stamp some things in here, and then I'll bring some of that purple when I'm coloring my imagery into the objects. You can't really color certain things too much because a lot of the media that we're using are transparent, so you get this warm tone showing through violets or something like that. But I don't know. It gives you a lot of different possibilities in terms of a temperature spectrum. All right, so let's look at this one. Beautiful right here again. Kind of an interplay between certainly values right here. You got very light and very dark right here, and then you have warm and cool throughout here with a little bit of warmth showing through kind of a neutral area right in here. So let's see here. You can almost see like these forms down here can almost be like a valley in itself, like this. And then you can put like a nighttime sky up here. You can put a few stars or something like that, having it set like that. And on this way, it has a different feel, doesn't it? You can use this as water, maybe, with like a sunset type of thing. Color transitions right in here with these forms right in here. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of different possibilities right here in terms of the utilization of the paper, and we can create some deep space with it. Like this looks really far in the distance, and you have these kind of a range of I don't know, different distances in here. I don't know. I think these papers, the first ones were awesome, but I don't know. I'm thinking that these ones might be a little bit more universal in terms of potential usage. I love this backside one too. But yeah, let's see right here. This looks like it could be a shoreline right here, right? With the waves kind of coming up on warm sand. It would be like super warm sand. Or like this. This is like looking toward shore. This would be some clouds again on the horizon or something like that. Or just a transitioning sky. You can put some trees right here in the foreground with a little quote stamp up here. You can go cool over warm or warm over cool. And then you have these transition zones of the white between warm and cool. I'm thinking. So there's all kinds of different things I'm not even thinking about too, which is it's always occurred to me. I'm seeing this as like a nice little shoreline or something like that. And I can put my sea turtles right in here, like going out to sea, something of that sort. I would bring in some additional brown tones in here and some rocky textures maybe. Yeah. Oh, look at this one right here. Isn't that cool? We have this sky formation right here. I really see this as bottom and top right here. The way these the wind is kind of blowing into these clouds right here. This is a really awesome textures right in here on the edge of the cloud. That's why when I'm doing the rip paper towel technique, I always use the torn side of the paper towel to make textures like that. But isn't that awesome? And then we have the warmth in here. But when you look at it like, I don't know, any different position looks good to me. Like there's all kinds of different things. Sometimes when you go vertical like this, with this one, I could see us doing that potentially. It creates a lot of drama. And this could even be something somewhat of a, maybe like a, not quite, but almost like a nebula or something like that. And you can put stars or something out here. And you can anchor it with some foreground trees or something like that too. But I don't know, there's a lot of drama in this one. Just from that swoopy kind of movement in here. See this? She has this kind of movement going this way, and then this one's going this way. So you have these different arcs, and they're intersecting right here, and then she has it kind of wisping off like that. You can add in some additional wisps too with some white pigment ink on a paper towel. So you can use these, again, as a base for additional forms and color too. You can add in some pinks or anything like that. This is real neutral white in here, so you can add in some extra color in here if you want to, which is what Deanna's thinking about when she's making these pieces too. You can certainly just stamp primarily like silhouette style images on here only. Do a quote stamp or something like that, but you can manipulate these and use them as like a base for other additional forms and textures, colors worked into the background, okay? And look at this. There's these little wispy little kind of movements right in here too. So you got a lot of these little arcs in here for a lot of drama. This is one that I'd want to get right. I see these too, not just as entire foundations for the entire scene themselves. I'll show you what I'm talking about when I'm coming up, when I go through these right here. All right. Now this one right here, I do not see in here. Maybe these were test ones right here, or maybe, I don't know, maybe there's just a different pack. Maybe there's two different packs here. I see this as like a solar eclipse or something like that. Really dramatic. When you see areas like this too, and you're thinking, okay, I want to stamp something in here, but it's open, you can also stamp images out. Like if you're going to stamp a cabin over the top of this, right here, the cabin's roof is in here, but this is like showing right through the roof. You can always stamp something on a separate piece of paper and then paste it right in here so that you get an opaque form, with this as a background too. So remember, there's all kinds of different things you can do like that too. You don't have to stamp directly on here. You can stamp, parts of something or whatever and block out areas of the forms in here. Now, naturally, we're using these papers, background papers, because we like what's going on in there. So I like to showcase the background as much as possible. But sometimes if I have like an open design in here and I don't want this orb to, be showing right through an object, then I do it where I stamp it on here, and then that open area I stamp on a separate piece of paper and just glue it into the form. And you can use these papers, and it gives a lot more potential in terms of their versatility. All right, I love moons and nighttime types of scenarios. That could be a sun too. You can give it a little bit of temperature if you want to, or just leave it like that. It could be like a sun, like in the Arctic or something like that. You can give it, like a lot of snowy drifts in here. So I see it kind of like that. I see it as an icy type of scenario. Like this right here. This is kind of low down here. It looks like an eyeball like this, doesn't it? Which is kind of cool. I would use it probably like this. I would put some forms down here, and I would love to add in some, you can add in some additional lighting in here too. Like I can have this as a snowy Antarctic type of thing. And I could stamp something in here and have it cast a shadow. But since there's so much shade here, what you can do is you can bring in some additional white in here and use this as a base. You can put something up here. This would be cool, kind of a castle in the sky too type of thing, wouldn't it? Ah, fun stuff. All right. I love her moons. So, some of these from, I think, the original set that she sent to me, grouping, I had these large moons that I wasn't quite sure how to utilize at first, but then, I don't know, whatever, I got into a groove with them, and they were some of the funnest things that I was utilizing. Back when I started figuring out how to use them a little bit more and add in light and shade into it, additionally. So, yeah, I always love the textures that she adds into them and her oscillation of sharp and soft, like in the background, like that. The pastels are really perfect for kind of a really soft types of textural forms, but again, Deanna balances it off with sharper types of like splatter painted dots in here. So it takes care of a lot of the work. If you want to come up with some, you want to do some fast scenes. Okay, now on the back of these ones, we're looking at this moon right here. I can see us using this a lot too. There's a lot of open space in here for, I don't know, different types of usage. And it's light enough to where, you can kind of go wherever you want with it in terms of stamping things on here, and having kind of open areas. Just, you don't have to do anything with them. You don't have to block out or anything like that in the background. And I'm talking about, like, again, like if structures or something like that have like a open area on the rooftop, this would show right through it if you just stamped it right over the top of it. But this is so light in here. It's really kind of a neutral surface, but still with some drama, or a lot of drama, and form and color and temperature within that. These ones right here, these hot colors, a lot of times I haven't used a lot of those tones like this, like a background like this in the past. A lot of times you can't get that level of intensity with a lot of the pinks out there that we're utilizing in dye-based inks, for one, and things like alcohol inks. But in pastels, you're able to achieve that. And if you get that tone in dye-based inks or alcohol inks, chances are, if you have this something like that color on display, it's really prone to fading. The really bright colors out there. This is in all different types of media, like oil paints, acrylic paints, things like that, dye-based inks especially, really bright tones like that. But since this is printed with printer inks, if you had something like this on display, it would last a lot longer. I mean, you still wouldn't want it in really super direct sunlight all the time, like for 8 hours a day or something like this, but this will last a really long time. All right, I got a peek at this as I was flipping through. I really love this one. I love grayscale and the drama of it. You have a lot of contrasts in here, okay? So whatever you're stamping out in here. This is one of those ones right here where it's just like, man, I just don't want to cover up. I love what's going on in here. So a lot of times this is the type of background paper that I've received from Deanna. And I tend to use it last. Just because I like this as a scene in itself. But, it is a challenge to utilize these and to retain a lot of what you like about it within there, but still utilizes as a background for scenic stamping. And, so something like this, I mentioned it before, but like a castle in the sky would be pretty cool. So something like this in here, it's really providing the negative space for this, but we got to sacrifice something, on this piece if we're going to utilize it. But like a castle like that, you can't stamp a castle in there. Well, you could, but it's one where you maybe stamp on a separate piece of paper, something like that, unless you have a really strong silhouette one. Color out the windows, so it looks like the light is on or something like that. Or this would actually, it'd be really cool is kind of like a lighthouse or something like that. That would be a setting moon in the horizon or something like that. Okay, this would be pretty cool too. No, that I think would be pretty cool. So you can put something out here. You can do something like this. This would be kind of cool to utilize the seaside cove down here. It's like a ocean horizon line right in here. Maybe? Or maybe you gotta, no, it'd be like going across this whole thing. And this would be the sky up here. Or, okay, here's the much easier thing to do in terms of retention. It's where you utilize this in a horizon card. So this is just going to be an example, but if you had something like this down here, I would mirror it though. I wouldn't use the the holographic cardstock like that, but you'd have something like this. Now, this is all colored and colorful down here, but which you could do to contrast it, but I would have like more of this type of tone in this lower area. I'd probably stamp a couple little impressions of some island out here, Palm Island or something like that. But I think that would look really cool and dramatic. I probably wouldn't stamp the baby sea turtles out there. I'd want something a little bit more dramatic, like horses, running onto the shore or something like that. I would probably do some sort of yeah, maybe it's a shallow lake or something like that. But I think that would look pretty cool. Yeah, so dramatic. I don't know. That one might be my favorite piece right here. I do like color, of course, but I don't know. There's just so much power to this. So I'd want. So if I was doing a horizon card or a reflection card, I would match this. I would go, what is it again? 6 by 6. So you go 6 by 6 up here. So you'd have square over square. All right, so I didn't talk about this one too much, but look at this kind of a pretty full spectrum of all the colors of the rainbow like that. This one right here would be pretty cool to utilize with your holographic cardstock down below, like that. Does this have a directional type of thing? This is my holographic cardstock. It's not the holographic printable vinyl sticker paper, but it'd be kind of interesting. You'd have all these colors of the sky, and the lower portion would be reflecting the colors that are up there. Okay, but anyways, you can use it like that, or again, really quite universal in terms of the level of contrast in here. You can stamp pretty much anything you want in here. This would be kind of cool as a horizon right here. And this could be ocean right here. And you'd have these different clouds kind of on the surface, or they're reflecting what's going on up there. It works this way as well. I have a feeling, though, that this is like top and bottom the way it was rendered. I'm guessing so. Rather than having things underlit like that, I have a feeling it's top lit like this. It's a little bit lighter up here. So maybe these light beams are coming across this way. You can add in some crepuscular rays to light beams, which would be kind of cool. All right, so anyways, I have a few different examples of how I've utilized Deanna's papers in the past. I just went and grabbed a few. So here's this transitioning type of thing right down in here. She's gone from dark to light to darker down here, I think. But see how we've utilized her little moon in here, and I have that little witch going across there like that. I have this little witch right here that fit kind of within this little span of warm light in here. And then this area was darker down here, so, in September, October, I'd probably stamp this one. These are glow-in-the-dark little ghouls in here. So this right down in here is fairly dark. So what I've done is I've illuminated this area down here. We're utilizing the darkness like this for our tombstones. But then I've brought in some white pigment ink in here to bring in some light within the dark. And then we have our little glow-in-the-dark ghouls in here, ghosts. And that also brought a little bit more lightness into this lower section. So it worked great as a contrast for my glow-in-the-dark, printable glow-in-the-dark vinyl sticker paper. Here's this example of what I was talking about. If I just stamp this cabin directly on top of this background, you'd have all this background tones like this red would be showing right through the cabin. So I stamped out this cabin that has the trees on the design. This is one stamp right here. But then I stamped this again, this whole stamp, or really the cabin portion, on a piece of, I think it was wood grain paper. And then this wood grain paper has just been glued right over the top of the other impression down below. So I can utilize this cabin with all this open area in here without all the colors showing through. So we're just utilizing these colors everywhere else in here, Deanna's background. And we get the benefit of all the sky in here as well. And then I colored in the windows with some acrylic paint pen. All right, and I don't know, I have little fireflies kind of flying around and down in here in the darker areas within her paper, so you get a little bit of contrast between these glowing, whatever, lightning bugs and scene. Okay, this one right here, I love this one right here with Deanna's blue kind of horizon line right in here, and then the red tones, warmer tones right throughout here, and then she transitions back into cool up top like that. A lot of times when I'm using a lot of her papers, for some reason, I don't know, I think that the quote stamps kind of go really well with her backgrounds. I don't know, they're evocative, types of background papers when you're doing something like that. Okay, so this is another piece right here. This is a piece, I don't know if this is in the set or not. I'm not, is that 4¼ by 5½? But okay, this is her background paper right here, okay? But then I've added in this whole lower section down here so I can utilize her background paper in the sky. And I've added this whole water section down below so you can utilize her pieces like this as a portion of your overall piece if you wanted to use something kind of bigger, or you wanted to expand on her idea like that. So it's providing kind of like an inspiration or something like that for a larger piece. Now, I've stamped this tall peak right here, and I've cut it out. Again, otherwise I would have all these darker tones right in there. This one, I don't know, maybe I could have just stamped it directly on there and add a little pastel, and that would have matched it up a little bit better. But, again, this is where you can cut out forms like that and have it stick out a little bit more. And then I color it with the same kind of tones as the violets kind of that are running in the background. Whales down below like this, and then I've splatter painted some white stars up here and had some splatter painting down below here to represent kind of like glittery reflections in this water section below. I think I used a semi-gloss paper for this section down here. Anyways, there's all kinds of different methods to use this type of paper, type of backgrounds. This goes for any type of background papers. We're utilizing things like, like stationery papers like this one right in here to stamp on. This is the springtime type of stationery paper right here, the aged foliage. So it's just kind of working around, different forms like this, and it can really kind of spark some creativity. Sometimes even more so than starting off with a blank piece of paper where you can go in any direction. So a lot of times you want to utilize and kind of feature and maximize what's existing already, and then to, incorporate it in with whatever kind of designs or compositions you have in mind. And sometimes you start on something with a background, and I don't know, as you're working on it, different things come to mind. So you might end up with something completely different than what you kind of, I don't know, anticipated or something, or planned, which is another kind of fun thing, because you start off on kind of one direction or one path, and by the end of it or in the middle of it, you have to change course or something like that. It's like, oh, maybe this will, be even better or something like that, or you can enhance it, or I don't know. Sometimes people come up with, completely different end results than what they had in mind. I've seen them mention it, similar things like that on the Facebook group. So, anyways, thanks to Deanna for providing me with these. I can't wait to use them. And again, you know, looking forward to the fun of creating oftentimes quick scenes and the challenge of, again, maximizing what already exists on the page, which can be, quite powerful in itself. All right, anyways, thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.